Alesha and her fiancé and her ex-husband will be coming to my house for Thanksgiving.
And my kids.
Yes, and your kids. Because one person that I told thought it was kind of weird.
It's definitely not the norm.
Right.
But is the norm working?
The norm is not working.
I had the norm as a divorced kid, and the norm is why I'm still in therapy at 44. And we just early on were like, we don't want them to feel the way that we felt. Honestly, emotionally, what's best for everybody. It can be weird sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's better than like being in the middle of fights.
So Thanksgiving is this week, and we have so many different experiences with family and divorce and all the things. So we thought it would be really fun to just have like a candid conversation about what healthy and unhealthy looks like.
Yeah, I've seen it all.
You've seen it all. So if you guys haven't seen my earlier posts, Alesha and her fiance and her ex-husband will be coming to my house for Thanksgiving.
And my kids.
Yes, and your kids. And so like, what does that look like? Because one person that I told thought it was kind of weird.
Thought it was weird?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that it's definitely not the norm.
Right.
But is the norm working?
The norm is not working.
The norm, I mean, I had the norm as a divorced kid, and the norm is why I'm still in therapy at 44. So, I mean, I think the normal is the fighting parents and the divided, you spend Thanksgiving morning with your mom and Thanksgiving night with your dad or whatever. And I don't think that works.
No, and like emotionally, what was that like for you?
There's a lot of guilt. And my parents divorced when I was 2. So I don't know them together. My kids still have plenty of memories of us together, but I remember from an early age feeling guilty that I was with one parent's family and not the other. And certainly my parents did not help with that. But, I'd spend, this Thanksgiving with my mom's family, and then I'd spend that night with my dad. And then the next year it would kind of flip and be reversed. And I think that's how a lot of people do it. But
well, even now in decrees though, it's not even like half of the day. It's like you get
that.
Yep.
Yeah. And ours is not like that. And when we were doing our divorce decree, we were marking stuff like that out. And our attorneys are both like, and we're like, we don't have to worry about that. Like, we're not doing it that way. And so I remember feeling really guilty when I was at my mom's or with my dad. And it's just a shitty feeling when you're 8 or whatever age that you are. And there's really no need. Like, I wasn't the reason that my parents divorced, but I and my brother got a lot of the resulting feelings of that.
Like the residual effects.
Yeah, the effects of that. So I think that is why, I know that's why my ex-husband and I do it differently. It is very different, I know, but he also had similar experience having divorced parents. And we just early on were like, we don't want them to feel the way that we felt. And so we are both very upfront about people that we've dated, about how that we do things.
So I was going to ask about that because I think that's another thing that shocks people is how okay your fiance is with
everything.
Everything.
Yeah. And I mean, he doesn't have that relationship. My fiance doesn't have that relationship with his ex. His kids are grown. So that's a little bit different. But I think to a lot of people, it's a little bit refreshing because it can be so dramatic. But I know that there have been times where he's like, this isn't exactly how I've seen things go. His parents are still married, so he wasn't a divorced kid. But I think that he has seen the value through our kids and how much drama we don't have in being like that. Like, he's not caught in the middle of drama. In fact, there have been a couple times where I've been annoyed with my ex, and 90% of the time we get along great and we're friends. But there have been a couple times, we're still human.
Well, I mean, you're divorced for a reason too. like, let's just
right. And I had a little bit of a moment about my ex, and he's like, I mean, we're cool, we're friends. Like, please don't say anything. Like, please don't get into it in front of me. And I don't know if I even want to hear it. And it's like, nah.
You're like, wait a second.
I'm like, wait, you're engaged to me, not him. So there are those moments, and I'm lucky. I do realize that I'm lucky. I put it out there very early on, so he knew what he was getting into. But I'm also really lucky that I have an ex-husband and a fiance that are able to put their own egos aside and to do what is best for my kids, but also like honestly, emotionally, what's best for everybody. It can be weird sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's better than like being in the middle of fights and like throwing dressing at things. Like,
right.
What's the point of that?
Right.
That's not good for any of us. So,
no, and it's terrible for the kids to see. And I think that it's so powerful for your boys to see everyone, especially boys, right? Like, so, because we have all of these issues with boys these days, and the whole not having male role models, which is leading to this male loneliness epidemic and all the things. So for your kids to see really even what conflict resolution looks like.
Yeah.
And how to critically think and work together, I think is a priceless gift that you're giving them.
Well, I think I can't remember if my oldest or youngest, but they were at a friend's house or spent some time with a friend whose parents are divorced. And they were like, Mom, it's so weird. They were like fighting and like talking about each other. And it was like, I didn't know what to even do with that. So for my kids, it's weird to them when other kids with divorced parents, their parents don't get along and don't do things together. They're like, what's wrong with you guys?
Well, and it was funny when we were at the game the other day. So Matt and Christian are like working together.
Yeah.
And Matt did something that was like helpful for Christian. Christian's thanking Matt. Everyone's doing the thing. And Jackson was like,
what is happening?
Like, what?
Yeah.
This is crazy. And I'm like, no, this is how it always is. Like this is just how it is. Like there's been several times where I've been at your house, Christian comes over, we chat, we hang out a little bit, and off he goes.
Drops the kids off, picks them up. I mean, that's how it always is too. We, like, when my parents would change my brother and I out, for lack of a better term, like, my dad would honk his horn in the driveway, and I would go out to the car, or he would just drop me off, and same for my mom. So something about that feels real generic.
Transactional.
Yeah. And I felt that as a kid. I didn't have the words for it. Obviously, I still don't. But I didn't want to do that. So there are very, very few times that we will do that. Most of the time, we will go in to the other person's house. And a lot of times, like, we need to catch up on our kids' medications or the schedule for the week or school stuff or whatever. So that's kind of our time to quickly, like, organize ourselves. But usually, like, when he comes into my house, he spends more time talking to Matt than me. Like, we'll do our quick transactional thing, and then, like, they're talking about music or fish or.
Well, or even the other day when you guys got that big fish tank.
Oh, Christian came over to help move it because it was 300 pounds and I can't.
So
I was like,
I mean,
I can call Christian to come help. And Matt was like, do you think he would? And I was like, sure. So
yeah,
he came over because I was worthless. So.
Well, not worthless. You just couldn't maneuver a fish tank.
He probably could have picked it up, but I was a little afraid of being responsible if it slipped.
That's fair. That's fair.
A little easier for him to be mad at my ex-husband. No, I have to live with it.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So, I mean, they've done, they worked on my son's electric bike together one day at my ex-husband's house, and I wasn't there. So, I mean, you know, I think that a lot of the times people that are an ex and a current, whether this is male or female, there's that automatic tendency to be like, they're bad, they're awful, whatever. But I think if you can take a second to try to get to know that other person, and look, at the end of the day, they're living with your kid. I want to know the person that's living with my kid, right? And I want to get along with them. And so I think if you can take a minute to kind of get to know that person and see where you have common ground, and they're the same age, so that kind of helps.
That
they
does.
Went through the same like phases or something. But I think that you'll find that it's not as scary. It doesn't have to be about your ego. I mean, you can find something to get along with.
Well, we all have more in common than we don't.
Right.
Like, just as being humans in general.
Yeah. Yeah. It just makes it easier. Like she said, he's coming to her house. We're all coming here. And that's because we told the boys we would continue to do holidays together.
And you have since day one.
We have since day
one.
one.
Like this wasn't like a progression of like we were enemies for the first 2 years and now we've come together.
No,
like this
but I will say we separated at the end of the year. So I moved out of the house in January. So we did have some time before like Thanksgiving hit to kind of work through the initial angst. Mm-hmm. So there wasn't a holiday immediately, but we did that first year and then we just continued it. Mm-hmm. Just because our kids, I think they said the first year that we were divorced and we had Christmas all together, they were like, we asked them how they felt about it afterwards. Mm-hmm. And they were like, it felt just the same. Mm-hmm. We alternate who hosts what day, and we all contribute. And mm-hmm. Christmas, his family's involved, and the only difference was really like he hosted Christmas Eve, and then I went to my house when we were done, and then I came back the next morning, or we switched years, so vice versa. Mm-hmm. And that was really it. And my kids are teenagers, so they're not like going to bed at 8 o'clock and like anticipating Santa anymore.
Right.
So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So
well, and it's interesting that you mentioned that you moved out in January, because I think a lot of people don't realize that more divorces are filed the first business day after the new year than any other day of the year.
Why is that?
Well, I really think so. There's a couple.
I did it.
There's a couple divorce seasons. Like, so January is the biggest divorce season. And I think it's because so many moms, and I'm sure some dads too, but just statistically it's moms, want their kids to have one last holiday together and one last like memory as a family before they do it. So what we see in January a lot, and we see in like May when school is getting out.
Yep.
So they can finish
the school year before anyone has to move.
Yep. And then they have the summer to, whether it's doing therapy or getting used to schedules or whatever, versus it being like October and then their life blows up and then they've got to figure out all this during the school year.
And that's kind of how we were. I mean, we knew we were getting divorced towards the end of the year, but we didn't tell them because we didn't want to blow up their mm-hmm. Christmas. Mm-hmm. And so they didn't know until it was over. Mm-hmm. And I don't regret that. While it was a little awkward, to live together, whatever. But at the end of the day, like I had to remember it's going to be awkward for a couple weeks, but it is for my kids' lifelong memory. Mm-hmm. I don't want them to always remember that Christmas of 2019 or whatever year it was the year that shit hit the fan. Mm-hmm. They don't, because they didn't know. I mean, they might remember January, but they don't necessarily associate it with their Christmas memories mm-hmm. as kids. So kind of why we waited. And so in the grand scheme of things, me feeling awkward for 2 weeks and him feeling awkward for 2 weeks
was worth it.
It's worth it. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's fine.
And I think that your kids adjusted really well.
They did.
To all of this because of how well you guys worked together. You weren't at war. You didn't put them in the middle. There wasn't any of that. They were always the priority.
Yeah. And one thing I was explaining to Matt the other day, because again, his parents are still married, and so he doesn't know these little tricks of us divorced kids, was I told him, like, when I was a kid, I knew what parent I could get away with what with.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And so I knew my dad was a little bit more strict about, like, me going to certain places or things. Mm-hmm. And so I had the freedom as a teenager to kind of like, that was not on schedule anymore. I'd go mom's house, dad's house, or whatever once I was driving. And so I knew that, like, if I want to go to a party of older kids, I'm going to go stay at dad's tonight or mom's tonight or whatever. And I could get away with it. And I got away with it because they didn't talk to each other mm-hmm. at all, ever. So
it was easy.
So it's easy. And so I was like explaining to him, like, because we have so much communication, they can't do that. And mm-hmm. they know it.
Uh-huh.
Before they even get home from school, if I've gotten a call from school, like my oldest got his phone confiscated last week. Before he even got home, they called one of us. Mm-hmm. So the other one called the other one. Mm-hmm. And he already, like, he knew that everyone already knew.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and didn't even try.
No, didn't even try.
So let me ask you this, because your parents had such a difficult divorce and did not co-parent at all, mm-hmm. how has that impacted your relationship with them today?
My parents? Mm-hmm. Oh, well.
I wish I'm going to take a screenshot of that look. That was.
I will say that and I told my teenager this the other day, my oldest, I learned a lot about what not to do by living that.
Yeah.
By living that. Because I had those feelings and I know what it feels like to be in his position and how adults can change the way that you feel in those situations and how you really have a lot of control over whether divorce screws a kid up or not.
Mm-hmm.
You really do. And so I haven't had contact with my dad in 22 years. And there's more to that story than just a divorce, by the way. Yeah.
There always is.
Poor handling of a divorce does not necessarily mean no contact,
but it can contribute.
Yeah, it contributes.
Yeah,
for sure. And a lot of that happened until I was older, but you can probably talk more about why stuff comes up when you're older. And then my mom, well, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you think it could have been different had they handled everything differently?
Yes. Yeah. And I think I will say right now, I've apologized to my kids throughout their childhood. So don't underestimate how important that is. And I'm not apologizing for the divorce. Like when I make mistakes, when I overreact, when I whatever, I apologize to them. I can't remember a time of either of my parents apologizing for anything ever.
Right.
And it's very like an old school mentality that like, well, I'm the boss and it's because I said so.
And you should be seen and not heard.
That part. And so I think that makes a huge difference in how kids have a relationship with their parents as they get older.
Mm-hmm.
They've always been seen as a human, as someone that has feelings and emotions, and you can talk about that. So I think that tends to lead to a closer adult relationship versus we're not going to talk about anything. We're feeling like none of this is happening. Mm-hmm. I'm not ever going to ask. I don't remember ever being asked how I was feeling about anything ever.
Same.
This is not a pity party.
No.
By the way, it's just like I can't believe now as a parent, that like no one ever was like, "Are you okay with this? Like, how are you feeling about this going back and forth, or about my mom getting just married for the third time?" No one.
Mm-hmm. Well, so you know what's interesting? This morning, Jackson and I were having a conversation, and his girlfriend was just like sitting there taking it all in.
She's like, "Oh shit!"
Because we go. Well, hold on. We go all these different directions, and we talk about like I'm very open and honest about mistakes that I have made, or how I didn't necessarily handle like because my divorce was so insane that there were so many like bombshells over, and we would find out more, and then like all these things. So there were definitely times where I was not my best self, and I can admit that, and we talk about it like really openly. And so it's funny. So we're talking. And she's like, I just have to interrupt you guys for 1 second. And I said, okay. And she goes, I cannot believe the way that you guys communicate. Like you guys really can talk about anything.
Truly.
And I said, I don't think there's a topic that's off limits. Or if I screwed something up, he feels comfortable enough to come to me and tell me and know that there's not going to be this huge consequence. And I'm going to listen to him, take it in, and either agree with him and apologize. Or sometimes like I disagree. I'm like, well, I handled it this way because of this. But then I can explain to him why, and then he can understand it more.
Right. And he can still be in his feelings about it.
For sure.
But I think a lot of times if you can understand why someone is doing that, just like kind of going back to like why we do holidays together. Like Holly said, we're divorced for a reason. We didn't even get married. But at the same time, we can be friends now because we had some things in common to bring us together in the first place. Our kids are not why we got divorced. So
no, they were just the collateral damage, really, because that's what kids are. I mean, let's call it what it is.
So like, what kind of conflict resolution are my kids learning from this?
Incredible.
Right? Like you can have differences with people. You can move out of the house. You can not, but you can still just be human with them. And I don't know. I mean, we've taken our kids to concerts together. We usually do birthdays and major holidays together, but then we also have our things that we do with them like alone. And like Holly was talking about a football game, my youngest plays football. I'll just go ahead and tell him this.
Go ahead. Because we just walked up on it. Like we weren't there from the beginning.
But this also relates to divorce.
It does.
So I will say, and I've had to explain this to my kids, I'm a vocal sports mother. Okay?
We can call it that.
Part of the reason that I am that way is because growing up, I cheered and danced and did speaking competitions and all these things, and I never had a parent there watching me and supporting me. Never. Not one thing that I ever did. My parents couldn't tell you what sorority I was in college. Like, never came.
Even I know that stuff.
Like, yeah.
That's not okay.
So, right. So I'm so like hardcore about going to everything, being present at everything, and being vocal and having their back about everything, because I was the kid that felt like I didn't have that. So it's really important to me. So they have gotten in the years annoyed that mom is a yeller and maybe heckles a ref once in a while.
Every now and again.
But once I kind of explained to them, like, here's kind of the way that, I mean, maybe I should heckle the ref less, but like, it's coming from a place of like what I didn't have. And so I think they understand it better. I also feel immense guilt if I miss anything, to which they're like, it's one, like, we're fine. It's okay.
Well, and it's interesting too, because so I will ask my children all the time, like, okay, so when I was building the business, I worked a lot. And there were a few things that I really didn't miss much, but like there were a few things that I just didn't have an option. I had to miss them. And I can, even to this day, I'm like, do you guys have any resentment about that? Like, how did you feel? And they were like, what are you even talking? Like, what are you talking about?
I don't remember.
Right. Like, what? So you missed, like, let's say Jackson
not being at that game.
3 games that day. He's like, okay, so you missed my first one, but you were at the other 2.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, we think more about that stuff than they do.
We definitely do.
If you're making an effort and you're being at most things. I mean, this is me reminding myself.
Right.
So this particular game that Holly comes to.
Back to the game.
Was a playoff game. And we had a past little history with this particular ref. He liked to like put his hands on kids and be real extra, and it left some marks on my son. And it had largely been ignored by the league. So there were some feelings there
brewing.
And so he got ejected from the game for a tackle that they deemed too much, which
none of us agree with, but
so mom kind of lost her shit and I got ejected. And so did my ex-husband.
And the rest of us, we had just gotten there.
Holly's walking up.
Yeah. It's like, U-turn.
Yeah. And really, all I said was, that's bullshit, because it was. And you shouldn't be even on this field reffing games, because he shouldn't, because he wasn't investigated. And he is now, FYI. And then my ex-husband is like, wait, what? Because usually I'm typically the one that gets a little sideways real quick. So then I knew once he got sideways, I was like, this is for real.
Yes.
So he gets kicked out, and then someone's coming to say something to him. And so my fiance tells that person, he's like, just go away. Like, leave him alone. Like, go away. So he totally had his back. I didn't know any of this is going on because I'm in the moment of like mom chaos. That, so we all kind of got kicked out together. Had to leave.
Well, and then we were all told that if we didn't even like remove ourselves from even behind that they were going to call the police.
Interesting timing that it was because we scored again.
And just interesting timing in general. It was just,
another story for another day. I don't know if I'm actually allowed to talk about it, actually.
Maybe not yet. Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
So, I mean, you can have each other's back. And a lot of times, like when we go to events together, like football games, they sit by each other and talk, and I go off with the other moms and like leave them to do their thing. And I know a lot of people think that's weird, but I'm like, they're fine. They get along.
Well, but
I'm going to hear her screaming.
To your earlier point, like, it's weird, but shouldn't be.
Right. It shouldn't be the norm.
It should be the norm. And we like questioning it is so interesting because we're so conditioned that when you get divorced, now you're enemies.
Versus everyone that they're with.
Right. Versus like just
be cool. And we have several divorced parents on our team, my son's team, and it really kind of runs the gamut.
I bet it does.
There's some dramatics, which, I mean, it's fun to listen to when it's not you. But But then there's, like there's another couple that are a lot like us and they get along. I don't know that they do holidays together, but they'll talk at games and everything's fine. And she really loves her ex-husband's girlfriend and it's great. So it can really be all over the place. But I feel like having the experience of being a divorced kid is probably the major reason why we're so
you're so mindful about every decision you guys make.
Yes. And so if you weren't a divorced kid but you're divorced, take it from a 44-year-old divorced kid that constantly fighting and putting your kids in the middle. That's the other thing. So I was constantly the messenger. Right? You tell your mom, you tell your dad. I've never once done that to them. Ever. Even when I'm annoyed with them, maybe I'll text him, but like I don't ever put them in the middle of anything. And they've known before when we've been a little annoyed with each other, and they're like, I'm like, it's a tiff. It's
fine.
Like,
right.
It's fine. It's gonna be fine. So just know that little stuff that you say in front of them makes them feel very caught in the middle. It's not fair. And it makes them feel guilty for spending time with one and not the other. Even when they're at one house and they miss something at the other parent's house, that makes them feel guilty. So like my son, his friends primarily live in my ex's neighborhood because that's where they go to school.
Well, and that's the way they grew up.
Yeah. So he stayed in our house. And so they go to school down the street. So most of their friends are there. And, sometimes on the weekends when it's a little slower and he's like, ugh, he can't like go down the street to hang out with his friends. I'm aware of that. And there have been multiple times where I will drive him to the neighborhood park or whatever so he can still do that. It's kind of annoying, yeah, but
worth it.
But yeah, it's worth it. One, I don't want him to like dread coming to my house because his friends aren't there.
Right.
But two, just like it's the right thing to do. And I know his dad would do the same thing if the roles
for sure
were reversed. To practice in putting yourself aside.
And egos aside.
Egos aside, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sure.
And that's for incoming spouses or potential spouses also. And that's, I think, the biggest thing that is super important when you're divorced and dating is being really upfront about what your relationship looks like with your ex. Good or bad, right? I went on a couple dates where, like, I'm not gonna, like, if you can only communicate through a court-ordered app and you can't have adult conversations, just then for me, I don't want in that. Like, it has nothing to do with me, but I don't want to be a part of a situation that's toxic like that. Like, maybe she is crazy.
Well, so that's what I was just gonna say. Like, so
you have to have some part in that for it to get to the level of an app, a court app. You can't just text.
Okay, so let me challenge you on that one. Because if Matt had younger kids and my kids were younger, I think we would have both had to use the app. And I
think that's true.
I'll own, like, will own everything that I did wrong in my marriage. True. Absolutely.
True.
That said, the degree in which the fallout was, I don't think that we would have to use the app, I think.
I mean, I think that the beauty of the app is that everything is looked at and tracked and you kind of behave better because you know that it's looked at. So I get that, but as an outsider, I don't want to come into a situation that's that bad. Personally. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I totally know what you mean.
So like I've gone on a couple of dates and they're like, yeah, don't spend the first 20 minutes of a date talking about how bad your ex is. Just pro tip. Don't.
So then that would be like, I'd be like running the other direction.
Yeah.
If I'd really gotten to know somebody first and then they were like, all right, let me tell you like what's really transpired.
That's kind of what happened in my relationship.
No, I know. And so I think that if he would have said like, okay, so now we've gotten to know each other really well and my kids are younger and we do have to communicate using this app, I actually think that you would be more open to it when you knew him as a person.
Yeah. And if on the first date I heard that, I'd be like,
well, if you're going to say that why would anyone say that on the first date? I mean, I know they do. I know because you've experienced it. I know. But like, why? Why?
Just don't. So
That just means they're not healed either. Like, go to therapy, go do your work.
do some business.
Mm-hmm.
If you go on a date with someone and they're divorced and they can't tell you anything that they did wrong in their relationship,
I could write a book on all the things I did
I
wrong.
want something red, like red flag. It's really bad.
Yeah,
but there's a lot of that.
There is, because there's a lot of people who are not self-aware, or they haven't looked at. I mean, it takes two. It takes two to get married. It takes two to stay married. It takes two to get divorced.
Right. So are those people going to be the people where you can have this sort of relationship like I have, where you're still spending holidays together?
No, you could never. No,
so if that's what you want, that's your goal, you have to be mindful of that when you're dating too. So I was very upfront and like, we still do holidays together. We get along great.
If you can't handle that, bye.
You're not for this group. Because truly you're kind of jumping into a group. And it can be hard, and I get that. I do. I get that it can be a little weird at first, but I think that the more comfortable everyone's gotten, the less like weird it is. I'm saying that as a person that's not coming in new, so maybe we ask Matt about this.
Which maybe we should.
Maybe we should.
And Christian.
Well, let's have them both on camera together.
And just have a whole, like get their whole view, because our audience just gets the female view.
I will also say this. I worried about this a little bit. So when the day that they got together to work on the bike together, I was like, are they talking about me? Are they like trade secrets?
Is like Christian, like, okay, let me give you a heads up. Like, if she's gonna do this, if you do this, and like, here's a really annoying thing that she does. That'd be hysterical.
Yeah. Or don't do this. That he said they didn't.
Do you believe him?
Yeah, I do, because Reed was there.
Oh.
I don't think that they would say it in front of him.
That's true. I didn't know Reed was there the whole time. Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, maybe that will change on Thanksgiving.
Well, maybe let's give them alcohol when you interview them. And see what comes out.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
About me.
Very interesting.
But I think like when you have a couple people who are adults, it's not. There's still boundaries. You know what I mean?
There has to be. Otherwise, it wouldn't work.
Right.
Like if he just walked into your house, or you just walked into his house, or, I mean, there's a lot of things where you can get too comfortable, I think.
Yeah.
And then there's boundary violations there.
And I will also say that it's super important for the other parent to sort of have I'm going to say step parent for lack of a better term, the other parent to have sort of the back of the step parent when you can. I mean, you won't always, but I think like when my boys were meeting Matt, they were a little hesitant. My youngest wanted to meet him, came to me and asked me to. I wasn't like, I didn't have a plan in place, but my oldest was a little bit more resistant. So my ex-husband was actually like, I filled him in. He's like, I actually told them like, you need to give him a chance. Like, he's nice to your mom. Like, you just need to be cool about it and just see what happens. So I think that's really important. And I think the fact that they get along and have conversations and the boys are around when they have conversations, it allows them to trust Matt a little bit more. And to,
because if their dad is okay with him,
they're allowed to like him, because I know my youngest struggled with that a little bit at the beginning. He was like, but if I like him, like I feel bad for my dad. Like
you're betraying the other parent.
Yeah. So we had to have a talk about like, no, your dad wants you to, like your dad and I have had shitty step parents, FYI. We don't want that for you. So no, like that's the preference, right? And then I think the other part of that is like the incoming step parent understanding boundaries and kind of.
They're not the parent. Then they're not the primary parents.
Helping and being a part of things. Just like Reed will come to Matt about his bike because he knows a lot about that stuff, but also like not stepping on toes and taking over parental things. Like I know a couple where the stepmom got into the mom's group on the sports chat and then had the mom kicked out of the sport. Like what? Step parents, you don't need to be on the sports chat unless like a spouse travels a lot and you're helping all of that stuff. But like,
well, and it's interesting too. So in your case, like the male came in first. I have seen just in my practice that a lot of times parents will co-parent really, really well. until dad gets remarried.
Oh.
And then stepmom wants to be more involved. And like, and again, we've done videos, Ellen and I have done videos about like the whole bonus mom thing. And I think that in some situations that is totally appropriate to call yourself that.
Mm-hmm.
And because like, I think you guys would like,
maybe,
I mean, maybe not, but like of anybody that I know, it'd probably be more likely you than not. Yeah. But like, that can be a really polarizing term. And like, I wouldn't be okay with that.
I don't know that I would like. I definitely don't call Matt their bonus dad. They just call him by his name.
Right.
Like, and I had the school call the other day, and they were like, they referred to him as stepdad, which, I mean, pretty much for all intents and purposes.
Right. It's just not. It was just on like paper yet.
Thing to be like, oh,
look at that.
And I don't know that I've ever heard them talk about him to other people to know how they refer to him, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But yes, I think that can be tricky. I think moms are a bit territorial about stuff like that. I know I would be a little bit. And that's where boundaries are going to come into play. And I want him to be with somebody that is great and that likes the kids and that they like her. Like, I want all of that. But I've also been a stepmom. So I know that, you know.
Yeah, you really have like the expertise on every single area of this topic. You really do.
Truly. There's a fucked up situation. I was there. Yeah. So you teeter with boundaries. And this is before I started being stepmom, before I had kids of my own. So you really teeter on like being helpful and being supportive, but not stepping on toes of a very active, involved mom.
Well, and it's interesting because what I see, and especially where the area of the world we live in, a lot of times the stepmom, bonus mom, whatever, is younger and doesn't have kids. And so right. And I think sometimes it's just like innocent ignorance, like you just don't know, and you
can be helpful. Yeah. And they don't really understand.
Right.
I get that.
And then there is also I don't have kids, so I'm going to make you my kid, and that's not okay. Don't do that. Ever don't do that.
Don't
no.
Do that. Never.
Because then that's where the healthy co-parenting situation blows up. Because then the dad has to defend the new wife.
Well, like, so if there's a mom and kids picture, stepmoms, don't get in that. Don't wedge your way in there. It happened. I saw it. Don't. Just don't. Take a picture at home together if you want. But the mom that this happened to was just like, what is happening right now and why is this okay? And she wanted her own moment with the kid that she brought into the world, which is completely understandable. And that's not like, you don't matter and you're not important, but there's still that like different kind of bond you have with your biological child.
Yes.
So she wanted that after a big event, wanted that to herself, and bull in a china shop just kind of came in and placed herself. And so I understood why she was upset about that.
Yeah, I would be too.
And Matt was like, oh, I would never put myself in the dad, unless like they were like, please come get in this.
Oh, right.
I'm not, because I'm not dad. So you have to like be involved and be aware and kind of parent-ish, but you also have to know the line. And that's a hard thing at first to figure out.
But I think that goes along with the awareness. If you're aware of the situation, if you're aware of your role in the situation, you're aware of how the two people co-parent.
Yeah, and I think the more that everyone gets along, the easier that role becomes for them, right? I think it's hard to be probably the step parent of parents in conflict. When you all are getting along, then that's makes it so much easier.
I agree.
Yeah. So again, it all comes back to like, there's just less mental anguish, and like you're going to need each other's help at some point, right? Like a couple weeks ago, I wasn't going to be home in time to get my son to football practice. It was my week and my Friday night to have him, my responsibility. So I had to call in his dad's bringing him over. Can you take him to practice? Of course he was going to do that. But then his dad brought him over and he was like, oh, I can just go ahead and take him to practice. Like, you don't have to like, I'm already like, whatever. And so that was super helpful. And then there's a time a week later where the roles were reversed. So you're going to need help out of your co-parent at some point. And the more cohesive everyone is and the more aware everyone is, just you're more likely to get the help too, right? Like it happens to all of us. We're working later than we thought, or, I need to switch weekends because my crazy mom's coming today. Whatever. I mean, I don't get like I have a date, whatever. I don't care, but you're going to need that. So being as flexible as possible, especially during the holidays too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Because we all kind of have different things going on. And if you don't do the holidays together, don't say anything to your kids about, well, I wish you were here. And it seems innocent, right? Like, I wish you could be here with our family. That seems innocent. But to a kid who is juggling both households and both sets of families, it makes them feel very guilty. It's a guilt trip, essentially, that's like, oh, well, I'm hurting my dad's feelings because I'm not there. And then you're at your mom's house. But then when you switch, you feel guilty about the other. So anybody that can avoid like, oh, I wish you were here, which seems sweet, but
it does. And I don't think that a lot of people say that with malicious intent.
No, they don't.
They mean it. They just don't realize.
What it does to a kid that's going back and forth, because it is hard.
Well, and my parents were married until my dad died. So those are things that I probably wouldn't think about. Like, I hope you're having fun. I miss you. I wish you were here. Like, that's so innocent, and like it comes from a good place, but I can see where that would be really hard. And I think I would be the one, because I adore my kids and want to be with them all the time. Yeah. So I totally would have slipped up.
Yeah. And it's not malicious. Well,
I think I hope for the majority that it's not.
Majority, no. I miss you or whatever. And that's fine. But I've always tried to also, I will talk to them, obviously, when they're with their dad. And our schedule is, we don't not see our kids for more than a few days at a time. So I don't really feel it's necessary. Also, with my kids being teenagers, like they're in their rooms talking to friends anyway. So
yeah, you're not the center of their world.
They don't want to hang out with you. But I kind of try to refrain from stuff like that, or reaching out really unnecessarily. Like, I'll send them funny stuff or whatever, but it's just not necessary at this point. It's their dad's time. And then I don't want to invite anything that would cause them to feel bad.
Well, and also the other side of that is like, it's also your time.
Yeah. It's also my time to be a human that doesn't necessarily have to be mom at that moment. And if you've all been a mom, you know that like we all need to not be a mom for a day or two. We always are, but to be able to do the things that we enjoy doing without taking care of someone else, or sleep in, or whatever that is. So when you're divorced, the kind of great thing about it is you get to have those times scheduled, and you know that they're coming.
Yeah. And I think for parents who don't have the relationship that you guys have, the first few Christmases or Thanksgivings or whatever your holiday is without your child or children is brutal.
I'm sure.
But you can't make it about you. And I look at it like, my kids and I talk about this all the time. Like, when the government was shut down and I didn't know if the oldest was going to be able to come home or not. Yeah. All I said was like, okay, so we cancel it. We do Thanksgiving in June.
It can be like, whenever you want it to be.
Can be whenever. So Christmas can be whenever. Yeah. Like the holidays can be whenever. I think we put way too much pressure
on the day. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if we could just realize that like it's and honestly, like the Hallmark Channel and like capitalism, I think has made this a million times worse because we're so conditioned, right? But like, who cares?
Why can't you wake up on a random Saturday morning in December and that's Christmas Day?
Right.
Wasn't Jesus' real birthday anyway?
No, he was born in the spring. And also, you could even tell your kids if it's like a Santa thing, because I hear that a lot. Well,
Santa can come when the fuck ever. Santa
might know that the schedule is different. And then he'll go to your dad's house on this day. I mean, it's like,
bro, Santa's got a cell phone these days.
He does.
We can call him out and be like,
email, text.
Christmas is January 3rd here at this house.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure he'd show up.
Totally would. and then that stuff gets easier when your kids are older because they don't believe in that anymore. So
right. Right.
Whatever. And I mean, I will say part of our situation and doing holidays together is that there's a little bit of selfishness involved. We don't want to miss out on that stuff with our kids. We only have so many years with them in the house. And so we don't want to miss out on that. And so.
But what a great thing to be selfish about. Like we want to be with our kids so badly. We're going to get along so that we can do this together so that we don't have to miss out.
I think our therapist, who you can find in her practice.
You can. She's fantastic.
We saw her even after we knew that we were getting a divorce. And the thing that she said to us, I think that stuck with both of us, and I think I've said this before on a video, is your kids didn't have anything to do with your divorce. So don't make it about them now. Don't put them in the middle of stuff. So your own shit that like made you get a divorce, it's over here. Your kids are here, and focus on that. And this over here is for you to deal with your own therapist on your own time, right? Don't bring it into the kids. And so I think we really both took that to heart. And I think
it's obvious.
The more that you can deal with that shit that's over here, the less resentment you're going to have. And it makes dealing with your ex-spouse so much easier because you're just like, I don't even actually care about that shit anymore.
Right.
Like, I still don't want to be married to you. But
you're not a bad person.
I don't care that you never cleaned a toilet in 15 years anymore, actually.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
It's fine. I'm not mad about it anymore. So the more that you can let go of kind of that stuff, it just makes it easier to just like see them as a human and even a friend. I would consider my ex-husband to be my friend.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So deal with your own shit instead of passing it through your kids and screwing them up. My pro tip.
And like, he is just a good guy.
Yeah.
He just wasn't a good guy for you. Right. And you weren't a good like woman for him. You were for a while.
Yeah. It lasted as long as it was supposed to. What happened was as long as it was supposed to. And I'm okay.
And and I'm guilty of, I didn't normalize this before. So like learn from the error of my ways, but like, it's okay to get divorced. It's okay. Like no one's going to judge you. 56%.
They might, but who cares?
Well, but also like they might judge you, and then that. What did you say?
I said fuck those people.
Oh, you can say that. Okay. You might judge now, and then be in those shoes in 2 weeks.
Oh, it was funny about that. I remember being a kid in like elementary school. I don't really remember which age, but I was the only one of my friends that had divorced parents. And I remember one of my friends saying to me, "You know what's coming."
I do.
Like, your parents are divorced? My parents would never get divorced.
Ooh.
Do you know what happened?
Be careful.
A year-ish later?
Of course.
Because it was like I had brought my like overnight bag like to school and had to like store it in my locker because I was going to my other parents, which is afternoon after school, right? I don't make my kids do that. We trade.
Right.
But this is the 80s, whatever, it was a thing. And she was like, it's so weird. Like, my parents would never get divorced. And then they did. And I think by the time I graduated high school, there were multiple. So, you know, you can judge somebody for it. But also, here's the thing that I always say. When people are like, oh, well, they've been married for 25 years. I'm like, that's amazing. Should they be?
Well, and so that's so interesting. So the statistics, right, of like, we know that there's a 56% divorce rate. How many, if people are being honest and you're doing a poll. We're petting a dog.
We're not just like fondling the chair.
You can see the tail.
It kind of looks like I'm just playing with the chair.
Oh, she's going to make an appearance. Casey has to make an appearance in every
video.
She's like, all right, you've talked without me for long enough. It's time for me to say hello.
Yeah.
So,
hi, baby.
Paisley says hi. So we know the divorce rate's 56%. But if you poll people and they're being honest, of the people who stayed married, almost 80% are not happy.
So before I congratulate people for like being married for 50 years, I'm like, are they happy?
Right. Or did you just like survive through it?
Because staying in a marriage for 50 years and being miserable, it's not worthy of congratulations. That means you aren't willing to do the hard shit because it is hard to leave.
Yeah.
It's hard to get a divorce. It's hard on everyone.
Yes.
But it's worth it if you value your happiness.
Mhm.
And so if you're miserable, and we've all seen these couples, right? Like you're like, why are they married? They hate each other.
Yes.
Then I mean, I'm sorry, your 30-year marriage doesn't deserve a congratulations from me
Mhm.
because you hate each other. Why are you so miserable?
Mhm.
Why are you living that way? It makes me sad.
I really think that it's fear of the unknown.
It's scary.
And
But is it worth it?
Oh, look. Here's the thing. Hindsight, like
Here's the thing.
I would have white knuckled it and stayed in. I would have. Honestly, I would have. I would have
Just like that.
Yes, but I also am like I go down fighting, right? And like so I just don't. I'm gonna fight till the death.
Mm-hmm.
That said, that was dumb. That was dumb. I should have been done long before, because I was.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like was done, but like yeah, yeah. And
I think every woman is. We're done before we're done. We just might not know it yet.
Yes,
other people know.
And like I don't know the exact statistic, but we're gonna say like we'll call it 80 to 90% of women are the ones that file for divorce because men will tough it out because they're getting their needs met, right? Because men do better in marriage than not. Women do not. Now, that said, when men file for divorce, it's because they're cheating. Almost every time. Who's shocked? Because it takes work to do that. It takes
it's money. Let's not forget, it's expensive.
Mm-hmm.
It'll screw up you financially.
Oh, totally. So I think that if we can understand that, like I can look at myself in the mirror and know that I did everything I possibly could, and like
that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, and thank God, because I know I say this in like 99% of my videos, but like I've never been happier.
Yeah.
My children have never been happier. As a family unit, we've never been happier. Like our life really is awesome. And I'm so grateful that he did what he did. Can you believe that I'm saying that?
Mm-hmm. I knew you'd get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
I was like,
I'm stubborn.
She'd get there, but I was like,
stubborn.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone sees it before you do, right?
Oh, of course. Well, and I think I was caught up in the story, not the person.
Mm-hmm.
And like how it all happened and how unbelievable.
The idea and like what other people saw, the facade. Right?
Or even the like, how could you do this? Like trying to figure out like in what world was any of that okay? And why would you lie about specific things that like were so outlandish? So I think I spent so much mental energy trying to figure it out. And then when I just like finally let it go and realized like
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't matter.
At all. The story doesn't matter. I just have to be so grateful that I am where I am and I'm as happy as I am.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's hard on a lot of levels, but
I mean, I wouldn't wish it on anybody.
No, me either. But at the same time, I think what I did was like, okay, do I want to be feeling like I am right now in 20 years?
Well, and you would talk about that openly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so if you're like, oh, hell no, well.
Or what I will tell people all the time too is, if you look at your son or daughter and you say, I would love it if my child had the same marriage I had. I would love it if my child was married to the same type of person that I'm married to. If you can say that, great. If it horrifies you, you got to be done.
Because they're going to replicate what they see.
Because we teach. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I didn't replicate what I saw.
You did not. And Christian didn't either.
No. I mean, we got divorced. That's what we saw. But the way in which we handled it. So I think it goes kind of one or two ways. Like either you completely repeat it or you go a whole opposite direction. I don't even know if there's an in-between when you're a kid that grows up experiencing that. Right?
Yeah, I don't really think there is. Like it either is going to be healthy and great or traumatizing.
Well, I think like being a very independent person, as you also are. I think when you grow up with not that, I think it's the same thing. You either go like, I'm going to be completely dependent on other people, or I'm going to be way over here and I need no one for anything. Well, I ended up way over here.
That's the hyper independence, which is really a trauma response.
It's a trauma response. I know this. However, but
we think it's a superpower when really it's a trauma response.
But I still would choose the trauma response of hyper independence to being dependent on other people.
Without question. Without question. And I also think too that that's why I think both of us came through it in a different headspace, because you didn't need that. And even like financially being like totally dependent, like no.
Yeah.
And I feel really sorry for women who are, and then their lives blow up and they know nothing about the finances. They know, and especially
they've been stay-at-home mom for 25 years.
Yeah. And I mean, to not have an identity. And a lot of times they think that they have X amount of money and they have way less.
He spent it on the strippers.
Or just being like keeping up with the Joneses.
I'm joking, maybe. Well, maybe I'm not.
You're ish. You're joking ish. I don't know. I just think that there's ways to do it and there's ways to not.
She has a drink. I'm the only one that's drinking mine during this.
That's not true. I've been totally sipping.
I feel like I'm the only one that's been seen on camera drinking. They're like, why is she drinking alone? What a lush.
Also, they look really good in the light, don't they? How they shine. I love that. Okay.
So does my gimp hand. Looks great.
Yeah.
I finished the job after I cut myself. I just like for you guys to know.
Okay. Anything we haven't covered?
You kind of covered this on your own video, but like you can choose to not go. You can uninvite people.
Oh, guilty.
You can do whatever you want on the holidays. You don't have to do what like your best friend Susan is doing.
No. And if you want to be home alone and watch
family's
Netflix,
probably pretending to be good. They're not.
Right. But like, it's also okay if you want to be alone. Like, you're not depressed necessarily.
It's one day.
Yes.
It's fine.
And like, to like be on my couch in front of my fireplace watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, girl, please sign me up.
Turkey.
Yeah. Or not.
Holly's eating cheese though. Just don't get it twisted.
Holly's eating.
So you can do whatever you want, and I think that there's this pressure to have this like Norman Rockwell, like everyone's around the turkey and everyone's getting along and everyone likes each other, when that is not 98% of American families. So
no.
Somebody is talking about Aunt Grace, like, and her dry ass stuffing, and they don't want to eat it, and they do it to be polite, and then somebody's mad at somebody, and that's like, I think,
and everybody has the drunk uncle
who says some things that you're like,
totally out of pocket. Everybody has the person who loves a good microaggression, especially now.
A low key like compliment, not compliment.
Yes.
Love those.
Yeah. So you get to have whatever relationship you need to have with your family.
And you can say, you know what? This is completely unacceptable and I don't like this. And so you're not invited. And you're probably going to be the bitch and they're the victim. And you just got to be okay with that. Being like, well, it is what it is.
Well, and I think our generation is the first generation that's really had the balls to go no contact. And so I see TikToks all the time of like, well, I tried my best and they just cut me off. And it's like, no, here's the thing. It takes so much, so much for someone to get to the point where they are like, you cannot be in my life at all. Yeah. And so if you are there, like, that's okay too. And you are there for a reason.
And trust that it was not one thing that happened. If someone goes no contact with you, it is years
and years
of things gone untalked about, or maybe you haven't owned your part in anything. There's the one thing that will usually like make it snap.
Yeah, yes.
It's the snap. But don't go around telling everybody it's because you had this one little argument. It's not about that. That was the end. That was the thing that made the person finally go, and done.
Yep.
Because women especially, I think we put up with stuff, and then we're like, okay, done. That's it. You put the toilet paper on under side instead of over.
What
And
kind
so
of sociopath does that, by the way?
it obviously goes over.
Obviously. Duh.
Anyways, don't think that it's like the one conversation, because people can be dumbfounded, I think, when they're like, we just had this argument about this thing, blah, blah, blah. Know that this has been building for years and years and years. And I think probably helpful to ask yourself, has this person brought up things to me in the past that I have just kind of like not acknowledged or not owned?
Or tried to set a boundary that I refused to honor?
Yeah. So, and adult children, I mean, Holly can probably talk more about this, like having adult children, but your adult children are allowed to have boundaries.
Yes. I need to
include you. That's like, hey, Mom, when you come to stay and visit me in New York, you can't stay for 3 weeks.
Well, and we've had those conversations. So
and that's fine. Yeah. Right?
Ours
to be like, I get it.
Well, and I loved it because like that's one of my favorite cities, right? So I'd be there all the time if I could, and I love my child. So I'd be there all the time if I could.
Yeah.
But our agreement is, because we never want to wear out our welcome. And so I do not stay more than 4 days.
Very important.
Right. So 4 days, that's max. And that wasn't, he didn't impose that, I did. But what he did say was like, what if you visit every quarter? And we like that's our rule. But usually I'm there every like, I don't know, 6 months.
Yeah.
And even at that, we were joking about how, okay, I can come every quarter. And then there is I'm like, okay, well, there's a new show that opens that I really like when Purple Rain gets to Broadway. Girls.
Can I extend 1 extra day?
Right. Like, or
have a conversation. Don't just book your own shit.
No.
It's fine with them.
No.
Don't do that.
No. And I include them in whatever I'm doing. So it's like.
She pays for stuff.
She does. But like I don't want it to sound transactional, but it's not like I'm coming there and I'm sitting on their couch, eating their food, doing nothing. I didn't even mean it. That was not planned. That was not planned. I swear to God,
that happens.
That was not planned. Anyway, my point is like we're doing fun things and we're making memories and we're doing all this stuff. So like if something really cool comes up, they don't give 2 shits and I'll be there.
Right.
And I probably won't stay as long. I might just go do the thing and leave. Yeah. But like, yeah. So but we have those conversations.
Don't assume though that they're fine with you staying for a week. And here's the thing about that. And I've had this come up with multiple people. I don't care if it's Holly visiting, like she didn't live here and she came to stay with me to visit. Any single human being that does not typically live with you in your space for an extended period of time, it throws everybody off.
Everybody.
Right? And I'm a scheduled kind of like, I got my flow. And like.
I do not love having people in my house.
Maybe someone has to give up a bedroom for you to stay there. Well, that kind of like throws everything off. And just the way that your day goes on about like lunch and dinner and how you guys usually do things is sort of like thrown off. And that's not to be like selfish. I don't want to throw my schedule off, but you can only really realistically get through that for so long if you're like a planner kind of person. It just gets to be too much with this extra like kind of person up in your space because it changes the dynamic of the entire household.
Well, and my parents used to always say that they never want to smell like rotten fish.
That means overstay.
So they stay long enough to where if there was fish in the fridge, it'd be fresh.
It would still be good. Yeah.
And I kind of love that.
Because then, like, if you're not overstaying your welcome, then, like, you can come back and they look forward to you coming back. However, if you're just staying so long, then they start to dread your visits because it's, like, drawn on for so long. And you're like, I'm out of ideas to entertain you. I'm out of things to feed you. I don't know what other movies to watch. Like, it becomes sort of like taking care of someone instead of like a fun visit.
Well, or like an event. So with Jackson, his basketball season, and we love his school and his team. So I'm going to be there more often because of games.
In short spurts.
Well, and not only that, but I flat out said, like, this is going to be like you seeing me like at least once a month. That might be too much. Do you feel like that's too much? And he's like, no, these are the games that I picked for you to come to. Like, what are you talking about?
But it was a joint agreement. It was a discussion, not just a, oh, well, I'm just going to do this thing.
Right. Or if like there's a game on a Saturday and like you want to go do something else with your friends, I don't need to come. And like it's not a thing. Like I just don't catch it in the next one. You know, I just don't see where that would be an issue.
You would think.
Right. Who am I? Who are we?
But like, here's the thing though, that like I've learned from my own experiences and from like you, someone who has older adult children, is I've learned what not to do when my kids are adults. Like my kids right now are still in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I'm learning day by day how to parent teenagers,
mm-hmm.
but I'm learning like what boundaries that are okay for them to set for me. And look, here's the thing. I don't have to like the fucking boundaries. I don't have to like them. I don't have to agree with them. But at the end of the day, I have to honor them because they're their boundaries.
Well, and I'm
not an exception to them having boundaries.
No. And I do think if you have the conversation, you generally like, you don't even have a like or dislike. You're just like, okay. So it's a neutral thing.
Well, you might go back to your house and be like, that really sucks because I'd like to stay a couple more days. But you still have to honor it if you want to continue to have a good relationship with your adult child.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
I try to be very mindful, and I probably ask them too much. They probably are annoyed, like, oh my God, we've already told you this 75 times. I'm like, yeah, but you might have changed your mind.
I think it's better to check in rather than assuming.
I agree. Oh, I agree.
Right? And like, as your kids get older, they have their own lives and their own routines. And again, you coming into that fucks up their routine.
Yes.
They love you, but like too much of a good thing is also bad, right? So
rotten fish.
You want them to also miss you and want you to come visit.
Which I tell them all the time. I'm like, I need you to miss me so that you want me to come back. I will stay where you are going to be sad and miss me. That
you'll be sad that I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And you're not like, shush, there you go.
Bye.
Do you want to get to the airport 6 hours early?
2 years. Please don't come back.
I can get you to the airport as early as you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
You should be extra.
Those TSA
never know about those TSA lines. You just don't want to be that parent.
Yeah.
I don't
either.
I don't even want to be that with adult or with teenage kids.
No. Or friends or anybody, actually.
You don't want to be the person that when they know you're coming around, they're like,
oh, here we go again. I don't have the energy for this. Yeah. That's
really the end.
Yeah.
So,
okay, well.
What else? That's it?
I think that's about it.
I also got to pee, so.
And Jackson texted me, so I got to see what he wants.
Okay, bye.